Liverpool overcome the odds by beating Arsenal at Anfield, and Manchester United managed to get going through the league with a penalty from Penandes. This is Talk Football, and I'm your host with the most. Welcome to episode 10. I am joined with my co-hosts this evening, starting with you, Nabi. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's not technically number 9.
Well, we had the technical issue uh, with the so I guess 9/10. How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was okay. Busy just doing some painting and watching the soccer, of course.
Painting, Picasso or
Bathroom.
Right? Okay, so not Picasso. Um, Shabs, how about you? How you doing?
Yeah, well, good. I had a good, decent weekend. Finishing off with a Monday night thriller
In
in
Manila? Well,
Anfield.
wasn't really much of a thriller, but
No, but
um, yeah. So
comfortable,
uh, b-
maybe.
before we sort of delve into the source, just a quick few things to go through. We'll go through the transfer update, but I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on. I saw David Ornstein tweeted or posted an article on the Athletic. I haven't actually had a chance to read it yet because I saw it just before it popped on. He was saying that there was a meeting today and agreed. Uh, sorry, I'll start again. Premier League referees allowed to show greater leniency on handball from this coming weekend agreed at meeting of clubs today to apply more subjectivity within existing rules. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I guess start
Maybe
with
you
you,
can go on
Shabs.
this one.
Or Nabs.
Oh, shall I start? I can
Yeah,
start.
you go.
Yeah, basically, it had to be done, didn't it? I think a lot of pressure was coming into it. I can't really blame the referees for what they've been doing so far. So just to give them that guidance to say, look, put a bit of common sense, a bit of subjectivity into it, hopefully fixes the situation. But then you're relying on making sure that the ref's mindset is similar to what the rest of us and the footballers and the coaches and the pundits is. But their subjectivity might still be not lenient enough. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But it was the right move at this point.
I agree. Just to sort of add on to you, because it sort of ties in with the point that I wanted to make, that this will allow them, I think, to use the monitor quite a bit more to make those decisions rather than just sort of making a rash decision or a decision being made in terms of VAR without them actually even having a look to see. Oh, because I'm pretty sure it's especially in regards to the Tottenham one. If the referee, I'm not sure if he went to see it on the. Oh no, he did, didn't he?
I think he
He
did.
did.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
sorry, he did. Wow. Yeah, I guess in that sense, that's when you would see with what David Ornstein has said there. You would hope that the referee can now apply a little bit of subjectivity to realize, look, the player is not even facing the ball. Even though I do agree with
Yeah, it's to
what
do with what
Roy
they're.
Keane said in the sense that he did throw his arm up a little bit aimlessly. Not that he was trying to block the ball, but he did. You that one could be argued a little bit that he did make himself
Yeah,
unnaturally
true.
bigger.
Yeah.
Um,
There's been other ones which have been shocking, though.
yeah,
Absolutely
yeah,
shocking.
I do
So.
like the Manchester.
Crystal Palace one wasn't there as well?
Yeah, yeah. No, it wasn't the Manchester United one, to be fair, because that one, the Mope one, I find that was quite similar to the.
He led with his arm,
Yeah,
didn't he?
he
That was a bit of like
literally,
a Superman
yeah,
punch.
he literally
Oh,
jumped
there's
with.
absolutely no dispute over that
No,
one. When
no.
he
Now
takes
with
his
that one,
arm
I have
Oh
to
towards
yeah,
agree
no,
with you. I
I
have to
wouldn't
agree with
dispute
you.
that one.
But I'm pretty sure there is one that was, I can't remember which game it was. Um, and there was literally,
Players are having hands down by their sides, aren't they?
yeah,
Getting called just because it's slightly unnatural. But what does unnatural mean? Because
yeah,
you have to put your arms out a bit to balance your
yeah.
body. It's just natural movement. So yeah, hopefully the guidance is right now, where they're saying subjectivity in terms of like the distance, the speed of the ball, how natural it is in terms of if you're jumping in the air, your arms are going to go up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What,
hopefully it
what
works
about
out.
you, Nabi? What are your thoughts on that ruling?
Well, I think it's good that they've done it, but I'd still like to see how they do it, how much leniency they are still going to give. I'm going to wait to see how it's actually applied first.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I kind of feel like this will see the referees a lot more, especially with handballs, going to monitors. Because I saw a stat before the weekend, something like, was it 20 penalties have already been given so far. Um, that's what
Six of them handballs or something as
yeah,
well.
like game week 4 already compared to last year. We're in single digits last year at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
I think we're
sorry.
we're still we're still going to have this issue now, which has come in. Which whenever the ball hits the hand, the players are up or appealing. Just every time, it's
Yeah.
just over and over. Like that's going to get a bit annoying.
It will, but that's like with everything in terms of the football. Like there were situations where you know that it's a goal kick, but you still appeal for a corner anyway. Just hoping to
Yeah,
sway the
corners,
referee's
throw-ins,
mind.
and
Yeah,
stuff. You still appeal, don't you? Yeah.
just to try and sway the referee, even if you know that was not a blatant
But I think
handball.
that's like a light appeal. Like with a handball, it'll be much more
No, I hear
heavy.
you. I was just sort of giving a rough guide in terms of an example.
But I guess they got to start punishing players and be like, look, you can't just scream at the referee and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Like, I think a lot of the other issues has been like they go up to the monitor and then they end up doing all these stills and slow motions and stuff, and it
Yeah,
doesn't like take into effect of the speed and just the normal speed of play and things like that. And I feel like it makes a lot of things look worse. So like
everything
handballs,
always looks worse.
challenges, it always looks worse when you just
Yeah.
pause it in a specific moment. So I hope they get that part right as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So yeah, moving on to transfers. Just to I'll quickly round up Arsenal's because it's still the same two Partey and our. I've kind of voiced my opinion personally. I personally prefer Partey. To our because I still think that people don't give Partey enough credit in terms of his ball progression. Because online when you're saying, oh, we need someone who can play the ball through the lines, someone who can take the ball, and a lot of people are still going 4 hour. But even if you look at, um, I saw a stat. Was it dribbles completed by? I can't remember exactly what it was. But I think our not our party was like in the top five across all 5 leagues, top 5 leagues in Europe. Um, I think, and that's sort of progressing the ball from his half into the final third. And he's quite a decent press resistant player as well, or really good press resistant player as well. And even looking at the 2 games that we played against Liverpool, I was chatting to another Liverpool mate of mine, Johnny Shams, you know Johnny, and he was also saying, to be fair, he thinks our Partey would be the better signing out of the two. Because looking at last night's game, having Arwa on, I don't see what he could have done too differently to sort of not say help us win the game, but help us in that situation. I don't see anything that he could have done too differently, but maybe that's just due to the fact that I haven't watched him particularly often, whereas I've watched a bit more of Partey. So, with having said that, all the chat is still all our Arsenal obviously made an official bid a couple days ago for 35 million, and the owner pretty much came out and said it was yesterday or before the game. It was pretty much saying that it was a very timid offer from Arsenal, who are not considering the fact that this is a player who's capped for France or who's in the France national team. If though I think it's like under 23s if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, like I do get what you're saying. He's sort of notoriously known to be a hard negotiator, drives a hard bargain. But the encouraging thing, I guess, if we were to sort of sign Arwa, he's gone from initially wanting 60 million, sorry, euros 2-3 weeks ago. Now he's saying he will expect around sort of 40 between 40 and 50 million euros. So it's come down. Not a huge amount, but yeah. And with Arsenal, I think like we were discussing earlier, Shabs, I still do think that Arsenal need to make sales before um we can get the players in. And in terms of
I think
sales, sorry,
Arsenal can afford it. Yeah.
in terms of sales, I saw before we jumped on, Lucas Torreira's agent is now in Atletico Madrid. Um, to obviously
How much is that?
this is the issue. I think Atletico are Atletico, not Atletico. Atletico are pushing for a loan with an option to buy, but for me, that is no use to us this window. That is completely useless to us because we need the money this window. Um, so in terms of
Especially if you have to pay the release clause of Partey.
yeah, so in terms of how much, what I saw it was around sort of 22, 25 million euros, which is near enough close to what we paid for Torreira anyway. Um, and also said Kolasinac been linked with Bayern for 10 million euros, Bayern Leverkusen. So yeah, that would be another 10 million euro to the pot for Party. For me personally, I'm saying Party, but the club will probably go for Awar because all the chat I'm hearing is that Arteta is keen on Awar. But personally, we need someone who's really athletic and really dynamic and really strong and a powerful runner with the ball, and also can do the defensive side, which Partey can do both. Anyway, that's pretty much rounding up Arsenal's transfers. It will definitely be a really busy period, I think, for especially Arsenal and United these last 6 days up until the 5th of November. Um, but yeah, obviously saw quite a few things rattling about before we jumped on for Manchester United. So why don't we go to our resident United man? How's it going, Nabi? What's the latest in the Sancho saga?
Well, the bid went in today. The weighted bid went in, 100 million euros on the table. Quickly rejected though. But we finally got a bid. Finally got an official bid in apparently. So they kicked things off. Now I'm not sure what their plan is. If this was their kind of starter bid, or if this was their main bid, we'll have to wait and see. But I guess we'll have to wait to see what they're willing to go up to. But there's been a lot of other names brought up now as well today. One was Sarr from Watford, who Liverpool were also linked with, and
Our second choice, I believe.
well, he'd be our second or third choice as well. But also, I've been seeing a few things about Dembele from Barcelona.
Yeah.
Apparently, United are in talks. I think Barcelona are keen to sell so they can get the money that they need to buy Depay.
Would you
Do
take
you?
him?
I wouldn't be keen on him. No, I've not actually seen. I don't think he's actually even done much at Barcelona. I think he's been injured a lot,
That's
so I
what I
don't
was
know
gonna
much
ask.
about him.
Personally, he will essentially be changing one physio room for another, won't he? And me personally, I don't know how much I believe the Dembele, the Dembele rumors. I think it's one of those that probably Manchester United are kind of sort of leaking out that oh, we're interested in Sarr and Dembele to see if they can put pressure on Dortmund because it's a bit coincidental that the rumors for Dembele, correct me if I'm wrong, that they seem to have just come out today as well.
Yeah,
The day
I
that you
think
put
that
the bid in
yeah,
for Sancho.
I think they've been like mentions, but today's like a bit more. They've been talked about more often. But yeah, it could be a ploy. But I don't- like Dortmund just do not seem they're going to budge at all. So I don't know why what tactic they're
And I
trying
don't
to
think they
do.
need to
They
budge,
really
to be
don't.
honest.
Yeah, they really don't.
I think United have known from the beginning that they need to basically put all the money down or they're not going to get him. I think we all knew that from the beginning.
Yeah,
So I can't
it
see
was
why they're
clear.
going
Yeah,
with an initial bid of less than the 120.
who knows? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see how that goes out. But there's also a couple strikers that have come up as well. One is Cavani, I think's a free agent. Apparently, they're in talks with, and another one apparently they've been offered.
I might as well just become the
Look,
oracle because I mentioned this on the transfer pod. Remember when we had the discussion, your strikers, and you quickly dismissed them. You're like, this guy, in terms of Cavani. But
well,
yeah,
I don't think he'll come, but it's been mentioned
he'll be
again.
he'll be a fantastic signing for you guys. I think.
But there's also Luka Jovic from Real Madrid. I think Real
Yep.
Madrid are trying to offload him. He's another name that's been mentioned. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
he had quite a good record before he went to Madrid. I'm not sure what's gone wrong from him there, but I think he'd be a good
Zidane's
signing if he
gone
can
wrong
get
for
home.
him. Zidane seemed to be. I obviously have a lot of respect for him, but I do have to say he seems to be ruining a lot of players whenever they go to Real because
Madrid, yeah.
yeah, Madrid, sorry, yeah, and because yeah, Jovic was a really top striker when he went there. What was the German team that he played for again? I can't remember. But I remember he was linked with Chelsea as well at one point.
He
But
played one of the English sides, didn't
it
he?
was
Played
Chelsea
against
in the
one of the
Europa
English sides.
League. It was Chelsea in the Europa
Yeah.
League, yeah. And he was phenomenal for them. But yeah, it's one of those for whatever reason it doesn't seem to have worked out. But he's still quite young though, so he would definitely be quite a good acquisition if you were to get him. I think.
But I think if they'll probably want another buyback clause, so it'll just be another
No,
negotiation on that.
that's true. That's true. The moment he starts playing well, they'll buy him back for like 20 million and then sell him on again for like 80 million to someone else.
Just be another Morata.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's the incomings, and we finally got an outgoing. It seems nearly. Andres Pereira seems to be on his way to Lazio on a loan deal with an option to buy,
Yeah.
but finally got one out the
Which they
door. It seems.
won't do.
Nah,
Italian
I
teams are
think
known to not take up their options.
to be fair, it could just be the ploy. I think the owner or the sporting director and the manager especially. I saw quotes from him saying he was saying that Pereira will be perfect for us. Essentially showing his admiration for him, but again, it could be one of those where he's just sort of giving up the talk that making United think that yeah, we could buy him, we will buy him, and then like you're saying, Shabs, come next summer they'll be like, nah, sorry, it's not for us.
At least he'll be off the wage bill, won't he? Which will be something.
Yeah, I think lots. I don't know. There's differing ones. Some say most of his wages. Some say all of his wages. But I think most of his wages, at least, they must be covering.
Is he on
That's
high
good for you
wages?
guys.
Probably higher than he should be, but
Is it like Phil Jones on 100k?
maybe not
Is
100,
it's
maybe
not
like
120
80-ish.
or 130 Phil Johnson?
Yeah, I'm sure he's over 100k
Yeah.
wages, Phil
To be fair,
Jones.
I can't really laugh. We've got Mustafi and Socrates. I think Socrates is on like 90 or something like that, which is why he's a little bit reluctant. Or in terms of outgoings, that's potentially another one that could happen because you've got Napoli who are interested in him, but with them, they're now struggling to offload Koulibaly, which their owner came out and said that they probably should have sold him a couple of seasons ago. Because now he's what 29. Not that saying
Yeah,
he's still not a good defender, but at his age, you're not going to get the 80, 90. Whereas before you probably could have got 60, 70 million for him. Clubs were willing to pay, but when you quoting 80, 90, 100, no one's going to pay for that. No one's going to pay for that. I don't know. Is there anything else to update? I saw.
I guess just the other one is just the left back. Tellus, that's
Yeah.
still ongoing. I think that's the closest one that way.
In terms of what how you're feeling, do you think you will get any players in this summer?
I think they will. I think Tellus, they should get over the line.
about Sancho.
I'm going to say I don't think they'll get Sancho in. I don't think Dortmund will accept their bids. They might. I think there'll be a. I think there'll be a surprise signing. Is what I'm going for.
No.
Just kind of like a bit like a Gallo. There'll be a surprise signing near the end.
Good old Digala. Um, yeah, I guess I was gonna mention, it could be one where you could wait to next summer, but then if Sancho has another cracker of a season, that's adding another 50, 60k to his price tag.
You
Million,
also got
sorry.
all the other teams that might go in for him as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's when you
So
start
if
having
football
your
does
Real
go back to
Madrids.
normal,
Yeah.
you'll have Real Madrid, Liverpool back in for him.
Is he a United fan, Sancho?
I don't know what fan
I
he is,
think he
but he
has
is
a lot of
close.
friends at United.
Yeah, he is close. I think with some of the players, he plays online with them.
Yeah, fair.
But
Well,
what does that really
his best
mean?
friend is Reece Nelson. So you never know.
I think another quote apparently
Sancho,
was that he was asked
2021.
who. I can't remember if he's asked the best player he played with or the best English player he's played with, and he said Rashford.
Of course, he's gonna say that, wouldn't he?
But then who's his like idol, like English playing idol?
I don't know because he doesn't play like anyone that I can remember. Any English player that
Because
I can
you always
remember.
got to feel like there's. I don't think it matters too much because you had someone like Ox. I know he's with us now, but his idol is Steven Gerrard, and he moved to Arsenal. You know what I mean? So I don't think it always works out like that.
No,
Like
yeah, I
Rice's
think a
best
lot to
mate
do
is
with that.
Mason Mount, but he's still in West Ham.
Yeah, I think yeah, because we need to remember as well. I think a lot of these guys they grow up together, playing with and against each other in the youth systems, so they'll get familiar with each other. They'll get to know each other. But yeah, that's well. I guess in terms of Liverpool, do you have any outgoings? In terms of incomings, that I have not really been seeing anything, so I
There's
suspect it
nothing left.
could be
The only thing
outgoings.
I'm hearing is we're basically done with the incomings. In terms of outgoings, Rhian Brewster is still the one that's mainly being looked at. We got Sheffield United and Crystal Palace. We're looking at about 25 million with a buyback option of about 37 million.
Yeah.
Which is what's being touted. So I think we'll sell him. And on top of that, he didn't play against Lincoln either, and he's not been injured. So that kind of is a sign, to be honest.
It's getting ready
And
to
then
go.
we might use that money to then buy another centre back, possibly. But yeah, I think that's all that's we got left. And then Harry Wilson might be on his way out, but not sure who or where he'll go, to be honest yet. But I'm hearing about 10, 12 million at most.
Fair. That'll
But yeah,
be a decent
it's a very
return.
quiet last final week for us, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said at the top of this, you expect United and Arsenal. They're going to be pretty busy. Quite a few. I suspect quite a few sleepless nights for some of these guys who sort of do these dealings. So
Well, they
anyway,
get
just
paid well to do it.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Can argue that. So that kind of pretty much rounds up the transfer segment. Sort of just moving on into. I guess we'll start with the Chelsea game. Start with you, Nabi. What were your thoughts on it and thoughts on the lineup, if any?
I was disappointed that West Brom couldn't hold on. I think Bilic deserved to win. The lineup, I don't think there's any surprises in the lineup. I think maybe Abraham start. Did Abraham start up front?
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I think that was maybe a bit of a surprise.
but
But yeah,
continues to bag them goals in the continues
yeah.
still. But
But I'm interested where he's trying to fit in Werner. He's trying to fit him up front, or he's trying to fit him in out wide.
it looks like he's trying
So
to
interesting.
out wide that he's keeps trying him because even when they played Liverpool, you had Kai Havertz down the middle and Werner out wide. Uh,
Yeah, it was Werner out wide, yeah.
but yeah,
But then where does Ziyech fit in? Where will Ziyech fit in when he comes back?
wide right. I think from sort of having had discussions with Callum, I think you would sort of expect the front three to sort of be Ziyech out wide on the right hand side. Um, what's his name? Havertz in the
Werner
middle.
in the middle and
Havertz in the middle in terms of the
you'd
10.
have
Sorry,
Havertz in the
no,
middle.
number 10. Sorry,
Oh, okay.
and then Werner, yeah, up top and
Pulisic left.
left, yeah. Because yeah, that's the thing. Pulisic is still another one to come back in, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought the
Alonso's
only other question was probably Thiago Silva being captain. It's
yeah,
probably the
for me
weird one as
that was
well.
a huge thing because, like I said in the chat, like I know you said, oh, the language of football, yada yada yada. Fair enough, but yeah, it's a big call, and I think it kind of backfired to the point where
I think is what it showed is he doesn't have any other candidates for it.
the captaincy.
True. Who would you have put in for the captaincy?
Well,
Well, that's the thing. Who is it?
I think he because one of the things that Chelsea was sort of being in terms of their back four being criticized for is the fact that they don't have a real leader, that type of character, which they kind of lost. You would say maybe in David Luiz, and this is what um, Thiago Silva is sort of also bringing when him now coming. Yeah, I don't know. In terms of the him, my sort of surprise, I would say a little bit surprised, but I guess not really at the same time. Was Caballero starting? Um, that's one I would probably say was a bit of a surprise. Because I think was it the first goal? Maybe I'm being harsh. Kind of similar to Kepa at Watford, the ball went underneath his arm, which
I don't know. No, I don't think it was like that. I think he just. I don't know if he
it
didn't
to be fair, it went
reacted
it went
late.
between the player's legs as well, so that would have thrown the keeper off if we're being fair to him.
Yeah, he
I
did
would
go
have
through
put
the player's legs. Yeah.
I would have put that one down as a keeper mistake, or any of them down as a keeper mistake.
No, yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm probably sort of being harsh on that aspect of it, but yeah, in terms of the lineup, there wasn't much of a
No,
surprise
it's
apart from
as you would
having,
expect. Yeah.
yeah, apart from this whole having what's his name, Werner out wide, because at Leipzig was he not sort of central, but he did sort of drift out wide at times to the
He
left hand
drifts.
side, yeah, but his starting position is central. But yeah, I guess that's going to be the challenge for Frank Lampard to try and see how he manages to incorporate him into his system if he has a system, which I haven't seen. And like I said, I still maintain Chelsea will never win the league with Frank Lampard, because what is it? No English manager has won the league the Premier League in 19 years, and all of a sudden,
I don't think United win the league ever with Oli either.
no, I don't think so either.
I don't think Oli's good enough.
But yeah,
And I'm glad he's still in the job. And if he loses a couple of games, but then like beats City to keep himself in the job, then perfect.
keep at
It's a
it,
perfect scenario, mate.
keep at it. Yeah, because
Honestly, it's the best
this
thing. Like,
And
'cause
away from your
Brighton,
rubbish, I'm interested to see what happens with Alonso. Actually, I don't know if they'll try and sell him. I think it'll be a good signing for someone, but I don't
it
know if
would
you
be,
for
do.
but
United, probably.
would you take him at United actually? Because you're talking of left backs.
No, I think we need someone who defends a bit better than he does.
Yeah,
But does he defend better than Luke Shaw?
I
Or does
think
he not?
they both make different mistakes.
that still lead to goals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know how you thought the games went, but I thought, to be fair to Lampard on this occasion, it was 3 individual errors that caused the goals, really.
yeah.
And then he did well to sort his team out into
At halftime,
coming back.
do you think he
It's
gave them
obviously
the
on the players as
hairdryer
well,
treatment
but
at halftime?
definitely.
Just
He
completely.
definitely went at them at halftime.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
apparently he gave it to Alonso because
yeah. Because
Alonso just went off to the bus.
well, he wanted to go off to the bus, and Lampard wasn't having it. I would be surprised if he's still here.
isn't coming in until Chilwell back, isn't he?
Yeah, because that's
If
what
Chilwell's not back next game, Emerson will come in.
yeah, I think that's what he'll do. In terms of, because he has to make a sort of a point that you can't sort of undermine me or try to undermine me like that. Kind of similar to what Arteta's done with Matteo, and Dani Ceballos in the past, Ainsley Maitland-Niles as well, etc. But yeah, to be fair, with this one, I do think Frank will handle it well. Yeah, I don't see him sort of messing around with it. But in terms of the game itself, it was a very entertaining game. And I
Yeah, it
do agree
was.
with you, Nabi. Actually, yeah, I was quite disappointed that West Brom weren't able to hold on. Because yeah, that definitely would have been something.
It was
But
still 2 drop points against a
a promoted team,
promoted team. Yeah, so
yeah.
it's not It's not like we would have expected a draw or something.
But
So
but
it's still 2 massive points dropped.
like Billy said, for them, they, I guess, didn't expect to be in that point in terms of 3-0 up, but it would have been very disappointing
No,
for them to then go
it
on
would be
and
massively.
drop
But
points.
it's up to Bilic to then explain, be like, look, take the positives. You went 3-0 up against Chelsea.
You
But
just need
even
to
though it'll probably
defend
be a
better.
down at the end, you just gotta,
Mm,
you gotta take the positives of that. It's
yeah,
a bonus point, really. You don't go into that game expecting to
thinking,
get
yeah,
points.
that's true.
So
It's a bonus point. Yeah, fair enough. So I guess well, the score for that, yeah, it did end up 3-3. But
what were our predictions? I think
yeah,
we all put Chelsea to win, to be honest, didn't we?
in
So
terms of predictions, yeah,
we all messed up,
now
basically.
Navi, you went 3-2 Chelsea, and your player to watch was Pereira for West Brom.
He did alright, in fair. He assisted the first one, didn't he?
Yeah, so did well with that.
Even though it was a Chelsea mistake, but
And I went 2-0 Chelsea, Werner double. Didn't obviously go that way. And Shabs, you went 3-1 Chelsea, Werner. I think you put Werner
At
double
least
as
Naby
well.
and I get. At least Naby and I gave West Brom a goal. At least, come on.
Yeah, true. But in terms of that, yeah, none of us get any point for sort of even getting the correct score.
Yeah, not surprised there.
Yeah. So, and I guess in terms of that, we'll swiftly move on to the Brighton Manchester United game, and with that, we'll just start off with the uh, predictions. Nabi, you went 2-1 Manchester United, and you'd put Trossard to be your player to watch. And Shabs, you went 2-1 to Brighton, and you put Lamptey as your player to
Yeah,
watch. And I went 2-2, went for a draw, and I put my player to watch as Mason Greenwood. And in terms of the game, Nabi, was there any sort of expectation? Any surprise in terms of the lineup?
No, I think as I said in the unreleased pod, I think they'd go back to their usual lineup, which is what they did. I was hoping maybe someone like Baye come in for Lindelof. And I know Shab made the comment on Twitter that he reminds him of Sacco at Liverpool, which I think he did have in him in the past, but I think he is kind of getting past that now. And I think he would have made
I'm sure he is. I'm
an
sure he is getting past
alternative.
that.
I think the long term solution, if they don't buy anyone, is Tuanzebe to be put in there instead of partnering Maguire, but he seems to have been injured for ages. But yeah, they went back to the usual 11 and then gave away the penalty. Bruno with a bit of a clumsy tackle on one of the Brighton players. So that put them 1-0 up. But then United got back into it quite quick. It was an OG, but it wasn't like one of those OGs where it was kind of given to them. It was either going to be an OG or a Maguire goal with his foot in there.
Oh, right, okay. So it's almost like either way, if the Brighton player hadn't gotten it, it would have gone in either way.
Yeah, because Maguire's foot was right behind him, right behind Dunk, so it was going to be either or.
Fair.
And then Rashford scored his goal with the dummy.
Wow. I must say, what's the former Leeds player? Forgot his name, but March. He was on skates. I don't know if you saw the goal, Shams.
I missed it.
It made me dizzy watching the goal.
I
Honestly,
heard it was good.
he twisted him inside out and then twisted him inside out again. Yeah, it was something. Great finish to be fair to Rashford. Um, do you think he'll be? Do you think he's got that tendency of becoming a striker who scores? Is a scorer of great goals, but not a scorer of many goals.
Well, scorer of great goal instead of a great goal scorer. Something
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
that. I think he does that. I think it's Martial's kind of. He's the one that has to be the goal scorer, and
yeah.
Rashford can be the great goals. He has been a bit poor recently. He's not done that much. So I think he
No,
did need to up his game. So, and he did have. Did he have? Yeah, he had a disallowed goal as well. he was quite offside.
Which was offside, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they had 2 disallowed goals. They had a really nice one where Greenwood scored. Or do you think he was just offside as well?
Both clearly offside, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just to highlights on the players to watch, Shabs, you'd put Lamptey, and he got an assist as well, didn't he? That game.
Yeah, I thought he'd done very well.
I saw this morning. I don't know how true it is. I can't remember, one of those Twitter accounts was reporting that Bayern Munich are now sort of keeping an eye on Lamptey. They seem to be buying them and
You would,
Dortmund.
wouldn't you?
Yeah, they're buying all these really talented youngsters. To be fair.
I'm sure I saw Chelsea linked with him today as well.
What, to get him back?
yeah.
Well, it was for Chelsea. It was always going to be either Reece James and Tariq Lamptey, because obviously with their age being so close, it had to be one or the other. Because one would stop developing if they both stayed. So it was fair that Tariq Lamptey moved.
That was kind of similar with when they were younger with Edin Nketiah and what's a striker, the really tall one.
Who's striker?
Chelsea's.
Tammy Abraham.
Tammy Abraham, because Nketiah came from Chelsea's youth system, but they released him.
Okay, so it was like one or the other kind of thing.
It was one or the other that you're not gonna get much game time here, and they put Nketiah and Tammy Abraham as their priority. But yeah.
And Naby, are you worried about United?
No, I'm not worried. No.
You think they'll kick into gear at some point?
I think they are kicking into gear. I mean, I do think
the
though.
95th minute they kicked into gear.
Well,
penalty as
won
well.
the game. Well, yeah, Brighton got the injury time equaliser. I think was it, I don't know, Bruno or Wan-Bissaka just kind of left. Can't remember who scored.
To be fair though, they
free.
should have scored 6 or 7.
I know they hit the bar a lot, but I think quite a few people come out and said the point is to score goals, not hit the bar.
No, which is true, but I guess it does show United's vulnerability.
Misses. Yeah, it's more about the actual performance and the fact that they were big chances there.
Because it's one of those that if you were to play, a far superior club like Arsenal, with their strike force, they will take those chances.
With Lacazette's finishing.
Yeah, he did score, didn't he? He did score.
He did score, to be fair.
Yeah,
horrendous shot, but he did score.
To be fair, it's one of those. Right? If he connected sweetly with that shot, he would have missed it. He would have either skied it or gone wide.
Alisson might have saved it.
Pardon?
Because Alisson dropped down in anticipation of a clean hit.
Yeah.
Low. But it ended up, because he scuffed it, looped up, and he couldn't get back up for it. But, but back to United, I think it's not the actual the fact that it was hit the bar and stuff. Like, I understand in terms of that one-off game, it is the point of getting goals, but it's more the fact that you gave 7 or 8 big chances away. It wasn't like...
Because even again, looking at Crystal Palace, when you play them at home, it was the same thing. Crystal Palace should have scored more than they did.
Yeah, it should.
It's very worrying, in my opinion. It is very worrying.
I don't think it's that worrying. I think we'll get it together. And I think
when?
Bruno
When do you
deserves a
think
lot
it'll
of
get
credit.
together?
This is the thing. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just you guys making a bigger deal of it than it is, just for the sake of it.
No, like,
I guess
for me,
you can still get top 6, so you're fine, aren't you? Really?
Because they're not the only. They're struggling. Like Chelsea, their goals they gave away were worse. City conceded 5. I mean, if you put it in comparison with those two, it wasn't that bad. United's defensive performance.
But I suppose with Chelsea, we do have to sort of kind of caveat it with the fact that it's essentially reconstructing their team right now, whereas you guys, you've more or less got the same team that you had last year, and you're still making these mistakes. Whereas with Chelsea, they've near enough a brand new team that they've got. So that kind of is to be expected from them. But from you guys,
we've still got Tuanzebe to come in to shore up that defense and our new left back. So I think we've got improvements to come as well, and of course our number 1 keeper Henderson to come in.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I didn't actually get to watch the game at the weekend. Did De Gea have any sort of howlers or anything like that?
No, I don't think he had any that game.
Okay.
As I was saying, I think Bruno deserves. I know he gets a lot of stick for all his penalties, but I think he deserves credit for taking that penalty after all the hoo-ha after the final whistle. A lot of pressure was on, with it literally being the last kick of the game, to just nail it in the top corner.
It is a
It's
penalty.
all right. It wasn't too bad. He gets a lot of practice, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing I was gonna say. His name is Bruno Fernandes, so
It's not like they gave themselves a penalty. Brighton, I mean, I don't know what Mope was thinking. He's the one that put his
to be
hand
fair, that
in front
was
of the ball.
it. I kind of found it funny, when you see his celebration when he runs up to the camera and does a crying face thing, and
Yeah.
then when you saw him after he gave away the penalties, hands in his head in his hands, I did find that really funny. It's what I saw someone tweeted. It was like, Mope is one of those players that you don't mind him until he plays against your team. That's when you just
Oh yeah,
hate
definitely.
him.
Yeah.
He's one of those.
Is he the one that Guendouzi said something at?
Yeah, he's the one
Yep.
who injured
Yeah.
Brent Leno. Um,
And then scored the goal at the end as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. Honestly, that hurt. That really hurt.
But I think in a way it's good for the rest of us because it keeps Ollie in his job, doesn't it? So
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
that's what we want because we don't want Ollie sacked because if Ollie gets sacked, the first guy coming in is going to be Poch.
Pochettino.
It's literally
Yeah.
going to be Poch, and
Well,
that
with the
would
way
worry me.
United are handling their
So
business at the moment, you never know who it's going to be. You never know.
no, I think they'll keep Ollie for a while. He's a yes man, isn't he? He just
Yeah.
does. He's
What he's
perfect guy
told.
for the board.
Yours
He
talk
does
so
what he's
much. I've had
told.
enough of your rubbish now. I'm cutting off all your garbage now. You're just getting away with too much.
What do you mean?
Ollie is the one who gets away with it. It's all
Yeah,
about the
How?
board, but he's not been that good.
Well, getting
Ollie's not
third
been a
isn't
good
that good.
manager.
that's
Oh,
a fair
in a
point.
season where a lot of teams have struggled,
We also
and
then you,
it was Bruno that got you guys to third, not Ollie.
but then to be
Yeah,
fair,
but part of
it was Oli that brought him in. It's not that I'm sort of trying to defend him or anything, but I guess in terms of fair balance, it was sort of Oli that brought him in. Sorry, implemented him into the system the way he wanted to.
It's like a our title fight under Brendan Rodgers. How much do you put that down to Brendan's tactics, and how much do you put that to just Luis Suarez's greatness?
I guess then I would ask you the question like last year, with the same example that you used with Naby. How much do you put it to Liverpool being so great, and how much do you put it to the rest of the league being so rubbish?
A bit of both.
Yeah, yeah, I did. To be fair, at least you're honest with that. It is. It is. You can't deny it. It is. It is.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of both.
Yeah, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it on that. And yeah, speaking of Liverpool dominance, moving on to Monday night football, um, at
What a night it was,
Anfield.
wasn't it?
Um, was it for
Do you
for?
want Naby's thoughts? Do you want Naby's
Yeah,
thoughts before us?
that's what I was gonna say. Nabi, what were your thoughts on that? I'll try not
I,
to be reactionary to what you say, and just
I was disappointed Liverpool didn't score more, but I guess you do have to give Arsenal credit that they didn't suck as much as they usually do, and they did make it a bit harder for Liverpool. Although Liverpool did give them their goal, although it was two mishits, one of the scrappiest goals you'll see. But yeah, Arsenal did have their chances, which they didn't take, and Liverpool took a while to get their third goal. But from what I saw, like Arsenal always played out from the back, didn't they? Liverpool were always in their face, and Mane always seemed to get the ball back when it was on his area
holding. Yeah,
against
because
Ole. Yeah,
that was the issue. Holding was dilly dallying
To be
on
fair,
it.
I think along the whole back line, we absolutely dominated and pressured them and everything. I don't think any of the there was a lot of passes from David Luiz. There was a couple that got misplaced in the first half. There's a few that went out for throwing. Same with Tierney. Same with Holding. Under pressure, we were just relentless. We
Yeah.
were absolute animals in that high press. To be honest, some of the best pressing I've seen.
I think Arsenal could have done a few more over the top balls for Aubameyang, since I think Klopp basically admitted that they took the risk and let that happen.
Yeah,
So I think
to be
Arsenal
fair,
could have
That's
done
what
a
we
few
do
more
every
goals.
game. We take the risk. We take
Arteta
the risk
kind of
every game.
hinted at that he was, though he is sort of um for obviously the way he wants to play. He did kind of hint that he was a little bit disappointed that the players didn't sort of vary it a little bit. in terms of sometimes hitting it over the top or but then this then comes down to me that uh, I know I'm gonna sort of contradict myself a little bit here with the whole goalkeeping situation at Arsenal. Um, but in terms of the kicking, Leno is not great, if I'm honest, and handling and um, corners, crosses. One thing he's amazing at, shot stopping. Leno is really
Yeah,
good
he's a good
at
shot
he's a
stopping. Yeah,
really good shot stopper. But if you then sort of yeah, like I said, I know contradicting myself a little bit because it is what it is. It's happened, but at Aston Villa with Martinez, great at
yeah,
handling the ball with crosses. He's a good shot stopper as well, but his handling is one of the things that even when he was playing at Arsenal, that's one thing that you really noticed. He rarely spilled the ball. When a shot was taken, he caught it or and he held on to it, or he would push it out wide. But yeah, like I said, it is what it is. It's done. But yeah,
You're
that
describing De Gea, but 'cause that's what De Gea was. De Gea was second to none in shot stopping, but he'd never dominate on crosses. He'd
yeah,
fumble quite a few.
yeah.
He can't save a penalty.
Yeah, it is. It sounds like I might be, but yeah, that is essentially how I'm kind of feeling. But then again, he will most likely improve because I can't be too harsh on him because apart from Aubameyang, he was probably Arsenal's best player last season, Bernd Leno. So yeah, I can't be too harsh
yeah.
on him. But even sort of still before that, you kind of have to look at his handling on crosses. It's
But is
been
there a
poor
part of you
since then.
that thinks you sold your best keeper?
I would be lying if I said there isn't. But then again, there is always that sort of romantic side of things. Even if we'd sold um, Martinez, right, and then Martinez started making a few mistakes, there would be a part of me thinking, oh, we shouldn't have sold Leno because Leno was sort of so good. I think it's because Martinez had such a good sort of 10, 11 games without really making a mistake. That's what makes Arsenal fans kind of feel like, oh, yeah, we probably but yeah, that was one thing I was sort of getting back to the game that I kind of felt with Leno's distribution, it didn't help sort of bypassing the press with the because I don't know if you saw Arteta's interview even after the game. It was that you've got the quality of if you press them well, but they just give the ball to Van Dijk, boom, 60-yard pass across field to Salah who takes it down on his
Yeah,
chest.
he said that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's one of those that I guess this is what for me anyway. I guess I can't speak for all Arsenal fans because I saw some toxic stuff online yesterday. But for me personally, what I like about Arteta, he's not delusional. Like I remember Emery, there was I can't remember what game was. I think it was the Watford game when they beat us 2-1 or was it 3-2? I can't remember. Anyway, Watford beat us at the ground and we were awful that game. And then Leno, okay, oh, there was not Leno. Emery came out and pretty much said, yeah, there was some good stuff we were playing. Essentially, it's like, what game were you watching for you to think? Whereas that's what I like with Arteta, his honesty. I guess even when we won the Community Shield against Liverpool, he still reiterated like, look, we're nowhere near them in terms of levels. And yesterday clearly highlighted, especially the first half, it was yeah,
yeah. I was
like
say,
Shabs or
I
something. It
think the
was
game highlighted the gulf between the sides at the moment.
yeah, it
If
was.
anyone was wondering or questioning the size of that gap,
Hmm.
I think yesterday and the Chelsea game emphasized it all completely.
Yeah, but then
So
I suppose for you, to be honest, your only test really is Manchester City. It's not really, um, the
it's
best of
not,
the
but there was a
rest.
lot of questions about how much they can close the gap and how much Liverpool
Well,
are standing
to be
still
honest,
and things like that. But
in terms of that, I don't think there was. I think there might have been some delusion amongst Arsenal fans and Chelsea fans. But in terms of, I think the managers, if you listen, I can't speak for Chelsea, but in terms of Arteta, listening to what he said, even when um, we beat you at the Emirates, again, he reiterated like, look, there is massive difference in quality between us. The only thing that he was happy, and even yesterday that they said is like, in terms of the mindset now, the non tangibles, we can match these teams now. We can sort of start competing with the teams in terms of the non-tangibles. But when you start looking at the quality, your touches, your comfortable, how comfortable players on the ball, that kind of stuff in tight spaces, that's when you start to see the real difference in quality. And for me personally, yeah, um, I do think um, it did kind of sort of bring me. But to be honest, it's not that I was under any delusion that there was, because there was like a 40 odd point gap between us last season. So there was no way
Didn't
that.
you predict a 2-1 win?
Yeah, yeah, I did. Um, I went for
Prediction,
over.
mate.
Yeah, actually, yeah, to go for that. Nabi, you went 2-0 Liverpool, and your player to watch was Mane. We got a goal, and I went 2-1 Arsenal. My player to watch, I went Oba. Was probably one of the worst games I've ever seen Aubameyang play in an Arsenal shirt. But then again, I can't blame that too much on him. To be fair, I guess we'll get into more details. We're talking about the game, and also Shabs, you went 4-1, and you went with Bobby, who didn't do anything, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of assist or goal, like for fantasy, because obviously this
Oh,
is
he didn't get. Yeah, I don't.
in
He
the
didn't get an
context of
assist or
fantasy
a goal.
football.
Yeah,
Um,
no, he didn't get an assist or a goal.
so I guess in terms of that, that would make you guy, or that would put Nabi 2-1 up actually, against you, Shabs, and me no points this game week, because obviously Nabi predicted the United win and the Liverpool win. So in terms of the
Oh yeah,
score,
true.
but yeah, the results were were, were off. But yeah,
But yeah, if you did have any delusion, that ended it right there, didn't it?
yeah. But like I said, even in terms of the conversations that we've had in terms of group chats or anything, there was never once where I said, "Oh, Arsenal are going to." Essentially, put it this way: the same reason why you were saying you felt nervous about about playing Arsenal at the moment would be the same reason why I had a little bit more confidence. Because I can't actually tell
You
you.
were a form side in
Yeah,
general,
I
like
can't
overall looking
actually
at it, you were a bit of a form side.
remember. Like I said before, in the unreleased pod, the last time we went to Anfield in recent history, um, where I felt a bit confident, about, like, we could potentially get something here, and even the fact that also usually at Anfield, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you're usually sort of 3-0 up, 3-1 up or something, and then it's essentially just coming out of the second half and just managing the game. I think the last time we played you when you were 3-1 up, second half, you guys were pretty much on cruise control the whole half. Um, I think it probably was a bit, what's his name, Klopp, feeling a bit sorry for us and said to the players, yeah, just take your foot off the gas a little bit, because if you really
Yeah,
wanted to,
probably.
that game when we came with Emery, I genuinely feel you could have destroyed us. Um, but yeah, in terms of the actual game itself, I guess Nabi gave you thoughts. What were your thoughts on it, Shams?
Uh, well, I thought we dominated for the first 20 up until the goal. Basically, I felt very comfortable. We weren't creating. We did create a few chances. I think Mane had that one chance where he hit it straight at the keeper from a Trent cross. Trent had a couple of other dangerous crosses. A few moments here and there, a few decent, good moments of play. But we had Arsenal on the back. Well, we kind of had Arsenal on the back foot, but also I'm sure Arsenal were playing to counter, but we weren't allowing the counter, or it wasn't happening. Up until that goal, which was the one time where Arsenal broke up press in the first 25, 30 minutes or so. And the one time they broke, you obviously got a cross in from the left, and Robertson made a massive error. And then it was the most scuffed shot for Lacazette that went in. So it was just one of those moments. But what I liked about Liverpool was straight away, they just looked angry. They just wanted to get back into the game, get that go back, and instantly responded, really.
Do you know what I
Salah,
think? What I
obviously,
think it was? It was
yeah.
the way, I guess, you could say that the media and the Arsenal fans were going on about the two victories, and especially as well, even the fact that Klopp was asked, "Oh, how do you feel? Arteta's got 100% record against you." That kind of thing. I think the players sort of seeing their manager being asked those type of questions, it would be one of those, they would kind of feel, that sort of pride in you. How sort of dare you disrespect him like that in a if you kind of get what I'm saying. Apart from that as well, obviously there would
Yeah,
have been a lot
definitely. I
of
think
other
the
things, but
mentality
I
was good
think
there.
yeah, I think there would have been obviously, you are champions, so you have that mentality to retain it. But I do think like those kind of things as well would have been sort of extra boosts, if you will. Or extra,
They looked hungry.
yeah.
They looked like, look, we're gonna go for this. We're gonna forget what you've just done and got that silly goal. We're gonna get payback and get these next 2-3 goals. Salah obviously got past Tierney, the one who was meant to keep him quiet, and
What he did,
got a shot away.
yeah. Anyway, sorry.
And then Mane obviously tapped it in after Leno parried it across goal.
This is the one thing I was kind of disputing you, even so in the chat with Nabi. I kept on going back and forth with him, like there was, to be fair, it was that one time he got past him, and it could have been the time that Salah scored, but he didn't. But I suppose you could say you could credit him for creating the chance for Mane to then score. Though personally, you would expect your goalkeeper to do a lot better with that shot, and at least push it a lot wider rather than straight in the middle of the goal. Um, but yeah, I wasn't buying this notion that everyone's like, oh, all the pundits was, oh, Tierney's struggling out there, or he's. I wasn't. I would say he was isolated. He definitely was, because there were moments Maitland-Niles, especially in the first half. Because if you look at the second half, Maitland-Niles started pushing. Because I did mention those two as a combination that they stopped Salah, sorry, in the last couple of times we played them. When Maitland-Niles
I don't
started,
think they did this time though.
in terms of the second half, I would say they did, because every time that they got joy, Salah got joy, he was inside. It wasn't them two marking him. He was cutting
But
inside.
that's what you do, don't you? So yeah, you adjust to go inside. If
No,
Salah
but
does go inside a lot,
the point I'm
but
making is that Salah.
they were stopping all angles in the previous games, like inside, outside. It was all being stopped. Like he was completely quiet. Whereas this time he went round the outside for the goal, which is not really Tierney's fault because with Salah's
His first
pace,
touch was
if you get a
amazing.
head start,
His
if
first
you get
touch
a
was
head start, you're gonna
amazing. I
go.
think, yeah, Salah's first
Yeah, there's
touch.
not much Tierney could do, but I thought in terms of Tierney struggling, I feel like what they meant was, I don't know if you guys saw it differently, but it wasn't just Tierney, but the defense in South with Arsenal probably didn't help it South, but they looked like they were panicking under the pressure of the press. And then rather than it, normally like someone like Tierney, because you'd always say about his delivery, under a little bit of pressure, he'll get that ball out to Oba, and you're free on going basically against the opposition's goal instead. But that was never happening. The balls were just going out of play all the time,
Yeah,
and I don't know how much of it was the pressure and how much was it just a lack of quality in this occasion. But
I think in
probably a
terms,
bit of mixture of both. But
I think it would. I would probably say it would be the pressure, to be honest. Because the thing I'm trying to think,
But
like,
all of them were hitting it out of the goal, out for throw-ins and
yeah,
all sorts. Because I remember Louise, Tierney, and Holding all doing it in the first half. Even Maitland-Niles was misplacing passes. You had Willian having to
there
come
was a
back,
bit.
like centre back can defend and all sorts. It
There
was
was a
just
period when the ball, Hector Bellerin, like me and my dad just looked at each other and we just burst out laughing. Hector Bellerin had the ball, and like seeing a
two
footballer
foul throws in the
panicking.
game as well. Remember,
For
two
a
foul
professional
throws.
footballer, that's ridiculous. But anyway, he had the ball, and I've never seen a play like a professional football player panic the way he did to try and get the ball out of his feet. Because I think he cut inside, and I think it might have been Fabinho and Keita were literally on him, and then the ball was like too close to his feet. And if I could find the clip, I'll get it and send it to you. The way he just panicked, he literally just sort of dug it out of his feet to pass it to El Neni, who then obviously
But do you know what I
distributed
mean?
it out
Like
wide.
we were hounding them down with
Yeah,
like 2-3 players at a time, basically 3 of them on each
from
player,
from
and
from
they just didn't know where to go.
from what I saw, I think
It was great.
it looked like the triggers were Shaka, Xhaka. Sorry, I don't know why I pronounce it Shaka. The triggers were Xhaka and Louise, because it seemed that the moment they got the ball, it was like boom. You pretty much ignored El Neni because he's a safety player. Really, he's not going to be a player who threads through balls, etc., to cause you guys enough. Because I think most of his passes, he only made two actual forward passes the whole game. Most of his passes were either sideways or backwards. So
Yeah.
I think you guys probably highlighted that and said, okay, we can ignore him. He's not going to cause us any damage. There's no point in trying to sort of put too much pressure on him, and pretty much focused on the guys that we use in our build-up, which is David Luiz and Granit Xhaka. And for me, one thing it did also highlight is the lack of quality. Um, I guess that obviously that Arsenal have, but in terms of midfield, because that's where I guess you could see when Ceballos came on in the second half. I think it was like the 70th minute or so, or just before that. Um, he was the only player in the Arsenal team that was breaking the press because he's comfortable being put under pressure. He can turn. Um, I would liken him to, but I wouldn't loosely liken him to Santi Cazorla. Because Santi Cazorla, he was one of those players that you could have a ball with him and you could be in a phone box with him and you still couldn't get it off him. I kind of liken Ceballos a little bit that he does a lot of twisting and turning to sort of bypass the press. Because when he came on, you saw that's when we started progressing. Laka's two
Yeah, I
chances.
thought Arsenal had a few moments in the second half. I think one of Laka's ones were offside, but then the one that he was onside and missed was basically a copy of the first chance.
Yeah, Ceballos, the
About
ball
5 minutes
through.
later, and he missed that.
Yeah.
But of the way we play with that high risk, there's going to be, like Klopp said in his interview, with a quality team like Arsenal, because Arsenal are a quality side, they have really good forwards. There's going to be moments where we're going to give chances away. There won't be many. Like Brighton had like 7, 8 big chances against United. There'll be one or two. And those one or two Arsenal need to take when they get them. And I'm sure Arteta will be thinking the same thing. When you do get your chances, you've got to take them.
Yeah.
And Lacazette didn't. And it's just one of those things that happens in games.
Yeah, To be
So,
fair, with
yeah.
Laka, I kind of feel for him because even the sort of abuse, like I do get it. I guess going forward and building what Arteta wants to build, he probably isn't the player. But for me right now, the abuse that he's sort of getting online from fans for missing that. Like I said, excuse me, like I said to you, Shabs, yesterday, I don't think there will be anyone being as harsh on him as he's being on himself. He's probably given himself because
Yeah.
you could
Oh, yeah,
see
yeah,
when he
true,
came off.
definitely.
You could see when he came off, like
Oh, he was
he was
devastated, wasn't he?
distraught.
He was
Yeah, he
devastated.
was because he knew that scoring that potentially gave us a chance to walk away with a point from Anfield. But
Yeah, it was massive.
yeah,
Massive moment for Arsenal.
but I guess in terms
But I
of going,
thought I think, like, in the second half, it was more open. I think Arsenal was a lot more aggressive with the press
yeah,
and stuff. They're playing less on the counter and more trying to press us. But that
which
obviously also opened
I
up for
kind of
us with the spaces as well.
yeah, I felt it
So,
was really brave. And to be honest, you mentioned this as well. One player I kind of felt did well strangely. He did well, but he overall the whole context of the game made quite a lot of mistakes. Was holding against Mane, in terms of the one-on-ones. Every time Mane kept on breaking, I'll be like, oh no.
but
But then
Mane, well, to be fair to him, Mane is breaking every 3-4 minutes. It's
yeah,
not like like Trent and Gomez obviously had to deal with Oba, but he was breaking every half an hour.
hmm
You know what I mean?
yeah, no,
And up until the 94th minute, Oba didn't really do anything at all in the game.
this is where I now come down to the quality in Arsenal's midfield that I was talking about. We don't have the ability of someone like you're saying, or like I was saying, sorry, to beat the press with a turn, with a drop of the shoulder, or that. You look at Xhaka, he's not going to drop a shoulder and beat anyone. You look at El Neni, he's comfortable on the ball. He's very secure and safe on the ball. He will find because I think out of all the Arsenal players on the pitch, he kept made the most successful passes. I can't exactly remember the percentage, but like I said, it's
Yeah.
because most of his passes were sideways and backwards. That's why I kind of think Arteta didn't take him off and he took Xhaka off because, like I was saying, with Xhaka, I kind of felt that you guys used him as a trigger the moment he got the ball. Because with him, he's very stiff. I've said this before. He's a very stiff player.
Yeah, Xhaka and David Luiz was definite triggers for us. Even Maitland-Niles, I
Yeah,
saw on a few occasions, was a bit of a trigger, and he would delay on the long pass. Like he'd look up, look for the person he passed to, and next minute he'll try and make the pass, and Widgie's on him,
yeah.
Firmino's on him. They're
This was
just
the
all on
issue
it.
because there were a few runs. Oba that Oba made, and you could tell he was increasingly getting frustrated at the Arsenal players because none of them were trying to find him. Like he would make a good run, El Neno would then cut back, play to Shaka, go out the other side, play to Holding, David Luiz, Tierney, and then
Yeah, and then the
you know
chance is gone, isn't it?
exactly no player essentially was being brave on the ball. I guess yeah, this is where for me like I keep sort of beating the drum. I personally want a Thomas Partey, someone who can find the ball,
But
bypassing
are there
everyone.
moments that you would say you'd probably have been better off with Oba in the middle, possibly? Because if Oba had that chance that Laka had, in my mind, he scores it.
But then I also
Like
say
no doubt, he
Oba
scores
broke
it.
through in the 94th minute and decided to pass it instead of shoot.
To be fair, he had like 4 players hounding him. He was like he was like
No, but
one guy
it
on like
is still
5 defenders.
it is still one of those that there was an opportunity for him to shoot, but he didn't. Like I do, yeah,
It
I
wasn't
suppose,
a 1-on-1. Like yes,
yeah,
it was an opportunity, but it wasn't a 1-on-1 like Laka's was.
I suppose, yeah, that's true. We guess have the
If
discussion. Sorry.
if it was Aubameyang, if it was other way, let's say it was Aubameyang who had the Lacazette chance, but he did what Lacazette did and missed it the way he did. Would you not be saying if Lacazette had that chance, he would
He
have
would have
finished?
scored. Yeah, it is a catch-22 to be honest. Like the whole Leno and Martinez thing. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah, for me, I get it. There's a lot of Arsenal fans who are also calling for Laka Oba to start playing down the middle. But personally, I don't think it will work. Because obviously, Arteta knows Oba's quality. He knows that he's a clinical finisher. But for the type of football that he wants to play, I don't think Oba will be, in terms of this current system right now. Sorry, I don't think Oba will work playing centrally because, like you said earlier, we're sort of even at when we played West Ham at home, we're playing with three at the back, and Oba out wide, looking to use the flanks counter, use Ober's speed down the side. So yeah, I don't see I don't see it personally working because Ober's ability to hold up the ball, sorry, it's not great. He's not a great player to sort
Yeah,
of
true.
to link up. So you're essentially looking at the first phase of attack. Play the ball to Ober, it breaks down. Play the ball to Ober, it breaks down. Whereas if you've got someone who can
Yeah, to be
hold the
honest.
ball up, turn up, you go into phase two, play to Oba out wide, he breaks through, yada yada yada.
It's just one of those games. It just didn't happen. You came up against the best team in the league, and is what it is.
Yeah,
So why
He's
did
not going to be that
Bellerin?
difficult every other game.
Why did Bellerin look like a schoolboy with his tucked-in shirt and high shorts? Did you
yeah,
notice that?
yeah. I think he started that last game against West Ham. I think Tierney's had a bit of an influence on him, to be honest, because obviously Tierney plays with his shirt tucked in, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, a bit of old school, innit?
yeah, but Tierney does it
So
more in a more
after
non-nonsense, whereas Bellerin tries to make it all fashionable, pull the shorts really high, and
he's a
also,
fashion icon, mate. He's a
yeah,
fashion icon.
yeah,
But
Oh,
like, well, after the first 3 games and stuff, what would you say for Liverpool's title credentials? Are we saying Liverpool are favourites game? Because obviously, T, you mentioned you're changing your prediction, even though you can't officially change your prediction. In
yeah.
your
I, I,
head,
I
you've
I would,
changed that.
I would
You
say,
go Liverpool now.
I personally, I like when the commentators were saying, oh, I've not seen a first half like this from anyone so far in the league. I was like, because I watched the City Wolves game, City's opening game against Wolves. They were phenomenal first half.
Yeah,
They were phenomenal. But then with them, it's more the way they played the football. Whereas with Liverpool, it was everything. It was literally everything from pressing, and it's pressing from the front. Yeah, you could go on. But yeah, after watching that's when I was kind of like, because mate, I was sitting there watching the game and I was literally sweating. Like you would think I was out there playing.
yeah.
I was literally sweating watching the game, and also like I mentioned, I guess you asked just a good question. Nabi, what were your thoughts on it on Mane's challenge on Tierney?
I think he was just he's trying to brush him off. There's
No,
no
no,
malice
I'm
from
not
Mane.
asking what you think he was trying to do. I'm thinking, do you think it's a red card, or because
No,
no player goes in with the or when you get player breaking players' legs and no one goes in with the intention of doing it. It always accidentally happens. So
no, I don't think it's a red card. No.
fair point, Shabs. What do you think?
My initial thoughts were that I was a bit worried. Like I felt like it was, but then looking back at it, it's one of those. If you give a yellow, you can understand. If you give a red, you can understand. It was
Yeah.
kind of in the middle. It was like an in between type of one. I thought it was an elbow. It looked more like a punch, like a stretched arm, like a jab, but an
Yeah,
aggressive jab kind of
yeah.
thing.
That's why I said for me, if you then I guess it would fall under the violent conduct remit, which for me then would make it a red card. But I can also see why
But I
it
do
wasn't
think
given.
like
But
Anfield and 3 minutes in affected the ref's
100%,
decision
hundred
possibly.
percent. The thing also I was also going to mention is, like I said, I think if the keeper, sorry, if the ref goes to the monitor and sees that, he's given that as a red. Um, if he goes and watches that on the monitor, he's given it as a red for sure. But that's where I guess you kind of wonder what was the lines. But then again, like you said, it's Anfield, 3 minutes in, because that from then.
Also, to be fair, it was pretty obvious exactly what happened. I don't think you really need the monitor to, to really work out what
No,
happened there.
yeah, no, you don't. But I'm just saying, like, in the sense of like, if the ref was to go and see it, it definitely would have been given as a red. But yeah, it
I,
was pretty
I think
obvious. But
Mane was trying to push him out of the way, but because Tierney was so far away, he needed to stretch his whole arm, and he ended up punching him in the face.
yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
that's what it looked like to me. Like I don't. Obviously, we all know Mane probably didn't mean it, but he wanted to stretch, and normally you'd stretch and give a nudge on the shoulder and stuff, which would look
mhm.
fine. But
I think
Tierney was so far away from
he
him,
was
he had to end up
anticipating
punching him to reach him.
he was anticipating Tierney's contact, but Tierney didn't come. That's the way I
Yeah, I
kind of
think
saw
he
it.
thought they would meet in the middle, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
but
But
Tierney
it didn't
so didn't.
happen. He ended
Yeah,
up like stretching his arm, and I think Tierney must be a little bit shorter than him, so ended up going to his face.
yeah, and then obviously yeah,
Luckily, it was Tierney and not Ceballos or someone, because Tierney kind of like he was down for a bit and he got up
he was
and
down for like
didn't make huge amounts.
5 seconds. If he rolled
Whereas
around
Ceballos would
and
be
all that,
rolling
yeah,
forever,
that that
literally
that's
forever.
another one that potentially could have influenced the referee to be like, you know what, let me take a second look at this to see exactly what happened. So yeah, to be fair, yeah, it's one for me. I'm not too fast because I would have preferred the game to. It's strange to say, but I would have preferred the game to go the way it did in the sense 11v11 because that's how we would have gotten a true picture of exactly where we are. Whereas if we'd gone sort of 11v10 and say if we won the game, for example, I'm not gonna lie, I would have been delighted, but it would have been one of those, it then sort of feeds on that sort of false hope, feeds more on that false hope of like, oh,
Yeah, I know what you
we're, we're,
mean.
we're untouchable kind of things. Like, I think I preferred this because yeah, it was sort of a rude awakening, I think, to a lot of people. But yeah, like I was saying,
And to any deluded Arsenal
for,
fans, it helps
for us,
get them back straight.
anyone who was deluded, to be honest, like I don't know what they were expecting, because for us it's not, we're not competing with Liverpool and City right now, because you guys obviously are going for the league.
You're
For
competing with
us,
United, probably, I'd say.
United, Chelsea, Tottenham, like we're competing to get
And you're
back into the
playing better
Champions
than
League.
Chelsea and United, I'd say. I'd say you're
Yeah,
playing better than
and
United
I,
and
I genuinely feel
Chelsea.
if we do get the signings that we need in midfield,
You got a very good shout for top four, I'd say,
yeah,
if you do get the signings.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Nabi, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think if Arsenal were to get a Partey, they it would sort of propel them into that position to get top four?
I don't think it'd propel him straight away. I don't think he'd come in and make the difference straight away. Maybe eventually. I think it'll definitely take him time to adjust. I don't see him doing a Bruno.
No, no. But I guess what he also allows us to do would be to play. Because currently the way we're playing two-man midfield. I guess to just quickly touch on it, I'd sort of mentioned it on the group. The way that Arsenal are recruiting, for me, it's I see the long term vision. I see the long term view of Arteta, what he's trying to do. And like I said, it's exciting. We're recruiting fast, very athletic centre backs who are very good one on one defending in the sense of Saliba and Gabriel. And then we're gonna look to then obviously have that model that Liverpool do, where you push your centre backs and then you start taking that risk of having of leaving your centre backs with the strikers either 1-on-1, 2v2, 3v3, and
Yeah,
with that whole
it feels like Arteta's in the early stages of Klopp. Basically,
yeah.
that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I suppose Jamie Carragher pretty much said something similar, didn't he? But one
You'd say
thing,
about
one
3-4 years
thing,
off, maybe.
yeah, one thing I would say that I'm a little bit worried about, and that I hope he sort of Arteta tries to find a hybrid between the way Klopp plays and the way Pep plays, because the way Pep plays does not work against the way because even if you look at the way Wolves play, it's obviously not as effective as Liverpool, but they still play that high press game, and
The problem
City
is,
tend to
Pep has
struggle.
just a plan A, don't they? They just
Yeah,
have a plan A, and
yeah,
if the plan A doesn't work, they keep trying the plan A until it does work.
yeah.
Whereas Klopp, I would say, has a plan A which we try and stick to, but then we go to a plan B, a plan C, a plan
And
D, and
now
that's why
you
we
have
brought players
now
like
you have
Thiago in.
I was about to say now you
It's
have
to
a
create a new plan, isn't it?
exceptional plan B, to be honest. Not that you'd really call it a plan B, but
So, like, we can play on the high press. If teams are dominating us, we can play on the counter. We could probably be one of the most dangerous teams on the counter. We just
counter.
don't need to do it as often.
Yeah,
Um, if we need to play, we play out wide normally. Now we got Thiago.
you can
We
play
could
through the
probably
center.
try and play through the middle. So it just we're creating more and more ways of playing. And Klopp has adjusted to the league from when he first started. And that season where we won the Champions League, the season after when we then won the Premier League, we then had a higher line with the defense,
Yeah.
and we've stuck with that. So he continually changes
Because
little things here and
even if you're
there.
looking at last night, the way we're recording this on Tuesday, by the way. Even if you're looking at last night, the way the game started, your centre backs they started off edge of your 18. After 5 minutes, moved up 10 yards. After another 5 minutes, moved up until it was a point you were essentially suffocating Arsenal in our own half.
Oh yeah,
We were
it's because we're
struggling to get
happy
out.
to go 3-on-3 with our defense. So we're
Yeah,
happy to put Laka, Willian, and Oba versus our three defenders,
defenders.
whoever
Yeah,
are there.
yeah,
And I think Arsenal's point is they need to get to a point where they're happy doing that as well. And then that allows the forward line to do things like the high press and stuff, like go at them.
yeah.
We'll cover a one-on-one situation. And a lot of the times we do. And obviously there's going to be certain occasions where when you go up against world-class players like Oba, there's going to be certain situations where they do filter through and get big chances. But on the whole, it's not going to happen that often.
That often, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
great game.
yeah. To be fair, this is
Very
one I
enjoyable.
generally do feel like we could honestly talk for hours and hours about this particular game, direction of both teams. Um,
Have you
and
still got
even
Aubameyang on your? Have you still got Aubameyang on your fantasy team?
yeah, I do.
Oh, what do
Well,
you
good
make of
segue
it?
into the fantasy
Yeah.
football weekend then.
Speaking of fantasy football, how did you guys do? Well, I'll kick off actually. It was a poor one from me, if I'm being honest. It was
Points on the bench, no?
yeah. I had Mings on the bench because obviously I've got Martinez in. I was like I didn't want to bring Mings in as well, just in case they were to concede or to play poorly. Then obviously that pretty much yeah takes all my points away. But yeah, that backfired greatly. But yeah,
Does it
I
not?
got 42 points.
Does it not
And
concern you having two £5 million midfielders, defenders on your bench? So a tenth of your budget sitting on the bench.
yeah, Cody potentially, yeah, is one that I'm thinking about shifting out. To be honest, um,
I think I got a couple of players who'd done okay. Like Trent got 7 and Wilson got 6 points, but otherwise pretty average.
yeah.
I'm
So
looking to basically change
I was
my
below
team,
average
maybe do a
actually,
wild card.
well below. Well, not well. I was one
Well,
point
I
below
got
average.
37, so I was even lower than you. So,
Yeah, I got 42. Average was
Naby, how was yours?
43.
I did worse than you. I got 36.
And
Oh wow,
oh,
great.
okay, just a question, right? I've just looked at the highest pointing team, the highest scoring team. Who would have thought to triple captain Jamie Vardy against Manchester City?
No one. But that's what happens with those odd weeks. People do the
Honestly,
strangest things and it works out.
yeah, the person got 119 points, and the triple captained Jamie Vardy. They've got Fernandez in, they've got Roberts, they've got Alexander Arnold, Madison, Mount. The one player, sorry, that I would mention that I am going to take out is Timo Werner. He's
Yeah,
definitely
same.
because I captained him
Not
this
ready
week.
to have him in, yeah.
Yeah, I captained
Well, he's
him
got
this
a
week.
I
goal.
might bring him in 3 months down the line, but not at the moment.
He's got himself a goal in the League Cup game.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, they went 1 up against Spurs. He got a goal, yeah.
Oh, nice, nice. Didn't Havertz get a goal as well midweek before this, and then oh, he got
Hat-trick.
an assist actually. So I
Yeah.
guess that's an improvement. But yeah, much like you, Shubs, you might have swayed me actually about thinking about this um wild card because yeah, that's
Yeah, gotta go for it.
that I'm now because yeah,
Nabi, you gonna go wild card as well with us?
No, I mean I can't believe I got 0 points from my two Wolves players, and probably the shock of the
I was
weekend that they
shocked.
got
Yeah,
hammered.
absolutely. I brought Jimenez in as, as well for that because I was like, oh, we're playing
Yeah,
West
they had a
Ham.
shocker, didn't they?
Yeah, I saw a lot of Wolves fans online. They were not happy with Nuno at all. But yeah, I think I'm going to um, yeah, I'll think about it about using the the wild card for game week 4 and see how it
Yep.
goes. So I guess just as a um, FYI, really for our upcoming fixtures, Arsenal we're away. No, we're not away. We're at home. Sorry, to Sheffield United and Manchester United. So that's a big one. You're at home to um, Spurs. Yeah, and Liverpool. Oof. This potentially was making me rethink. Probably that's a good idea that I might actually use my wild card. You're playing Aston Villa away. The fact that I've got two Aston Villa defensive players in terms of
Okay.
Martinez and Mings, actually, probably
They'd be
not
doing all
wise
right,
to.
to be fair, but
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Also, they've got 100% record like you guys, don't they? But obviously theirs is going to end this weekend. But
We'll
yeah,
see, we'll see.
nah,
Right.
I know what you're trying to do. It will end this weekend. I know
We'll
inside you're
see.
like, yeah, it will end. But anyway, that will be it for episode 9. Thank you very much. Well, unofficially episode 9. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, and until next time. Oh, actually, well, Shabs won't be here the next time we'll do a pod, won't we? Yeah, won't he?
I'll give my predictions just for you guys, just
Yeah.
to so you
Give
can
me a
let people know what I
sec.
predicted.
While I get ready now, and I'm
I won't do
taking
it
down.
now.
All right, okay, cool.
I'll message you guys so you can mention it on the pod
All right, okay,
next
cool,
time.
cool, cool. Gives you a bit of time to think
That's
about
fine.
it. But
Yeah.
yeah. Until next time, thank you very much for tuning in. Also, before you click stop, I completely forgot to mention it the whole pod. In the descriptions, I'm gonna put all our socials in there. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. You'll be able to catch us on there. So yeah, please follow, like, and interact. We don't bite. I don't bite. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Tonana.